that you're gonna take. You're gonna take a TOC, or total organic carbon, and conductivity sample. That's just one sample. And those will be taken in duplicate. Okay. And then you'll take a microbiological sample. So it's going to be 3 samples really every time you sample. So there's 2 main differences between the TOC conductivity sample and the microbiological sample. One, the TOC conductivity, you don't want any alcohol. You don't care about like cleaning the port or anything like that. We're gonna take the sample, we're gonna open the port, we're gonna let it flush full steam for 15 seconds, and then we'll throttle it down, let it run for another 15 seconds, so a total of 30 seconds. And we're not gonna get our watches out and like, wait, it's got 3 more seconds. Yeah. We need to just give it a good flush. Then we're going to collect the sample after we've given it a nice long flush, and before we actually cap the vial and take that sample for the TOC and conductivity, we are going to we're going to fill and rinse that bottle 3 times. Okay. And that's the cap. I like to rinse the cap too.
Me too.
Then once it's been rinsed 3 times, we'll fill it again, cap it, and then we're good. Let me just do this because it's just going to keep falling as I talk. And then the micro sample, I'll cover that once we're done taking the TOC sample, just so it's less confusing. Yeah. So
to kind of caveat what he says, I can't stress enough how important it is to pull the TOC and the conductivity first.
Absolutely.
Yep. Always.
And I would add on top of that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, you don't want any alcohol exposed in this room. So you collect TOC and conductivity from that port, then you collect TOC and conductivity from this port, on that port, and then you go back to that port and collect your micro.
John is 100% correct. I should have stressed that. So it's checking, that TOC conductivity is checking for carbon. Okay. And it doesn't matter any carbon, and alcohol is, depending on what kind of alcohol, is carbon and hydrogen and some oxygen. And so it's absolutely going to pick up that alcohol, the carbon in that alcohol. So like he said, you want to take all your TOC conductivity samples first, and then we'll come back and we'll clean the ports, we'll clean our hands, and then we'll take our micro samples. So we're just strolling up, and we're going to take, I can go here, I can go there, it doesn't work.
It doesn't matter. I mean, whatever's easier for everyone to see. Maybe.
You said we were supposed to collect 3 samples. The OTOC,
2 TOC,
yeah,
2 TOC samples,
2,
and 1 micro sample. Okay. And that's per port.
Yes.
So it'll be 9 total.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me clarify. Now, I thought it was 2 TOC, 2 conductivity, and 1 micro. So it's 2 TOC bottles for conductivity and TOC testing.
Correct.
And 1 micro, so 3 bottles in total. Got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So
does that make sense?
I'm a little confused, but I will watch and then I'll ask questions.
It's just 2 of those bottles every time.
It's gonna be 1 of these for micro, and then 2 of these for TOC conductivity.
Yep.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, let's follow along.
Yeah.
What
So,
you want us to stop?
well, I'll just go right here. That's all right. And
Perfect.
just a heads up, I don't want to splash you. It might.
Okay. Let me get over here.
I don't know. When I go to Home Depot, I'll see if I can get one that hangs low, but this way it's not going to fall over.
That's fine.
So it's going to come out fast.
And again, we're gonna open it like full blast, and then I just count in my head then we're gonna do this for 15 seconds, and then we're gonna throttle it back to where, what I do when I do this step, I basically close it enough so I can get in there and take my sample. Thank you for holding it.
Exactly.
I think you're gonna okay.
I know, right?
You are gonna run out of strength.
Already.
So I'm gonna go ahead and go in, and again, no alcohol, no cleaning. And then, while this is filling up, I'll get in there and do that. And then this is my second rinse. Second rinse.
Third.
Yep, this is my third rinse. And now it's go time. I like to fill it up all the way. That's just me being ridiculous. Like, I even do that. It's just the way I was trained way back when to take TOC samples.
Yep.
Can I see the bottle?
Yeah.
So did the tape get inside?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so we need to. I guess I just want to
Sorry.
make it clear if it comes taped like that, we need to make sure that tape doesn't accidentally get screwed back
Yeah,
onto the bottle.
yeah, and this tape you can take it off if you want.
Oh,
Whatever makes it easier for you guys. This tape just lets us know in the lab that it's been cleaned.
Okay.
So it can be, once you guys get the bottle, if you want, you can remove the tape. It's fine.
Okay.
The main thing, just don't open it. It should be closed fairly tightly when you get it. Just don't open it. Other than that, yeah. So we'll do this again for a TOC conductivity sample, and then we're done with TOC conductivity.
Okay.
I only brought 2 bottles because, yes.
But we're not testing them, so we can only dump it out.
Yeah, that's actually, yeah. And then this, you can store it in, if we do get you guys things like this,
Will the lab supply the labeling?
you would have to double check with John, but
Okay.
I don't know.
I
why
think
we
I talked
couldn't.
with John and said he was going to
He-
scrub it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So I
Um,
figured, is this your box from home?
No,
Okay.
This is here.
So
Yeah.
I was thinking that the lab would this fit,
Yeah.
so they can just
we
buy
can
this
get you
box,
guys one of
6
these,
samples,
yeah.
and I'm assuming the micro will be under that.
We
Or
can do
the-
that. Yeah, I
the sterile cup.
I put gloves in there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So do we? Okay. Anyway, we need to put label on it for identification purposes.
Right.
Yes.
You'd write
Yeah.
like I'll go ahead and I'll write
And make sure you dry it off. Your label going to be wet and
yeah.
may fall off.
TOC conductivity.
Do we need to
And-
label it based on the port of use that we use?
You're
We'll
going
need
to
to
identify
we
your
need to-
port.
yeah,
The
no-
label will have all that information.
And then I'll
Should.
put POU -2. And since we're going to be doing 2 of these, I'm going to go 1 of 2. And then the other, I'd mark 2 of 2. But yeah, the point of the POU 2 stays the same. Then this guy, so this is going to be our micro sample.
Yeah.
So, a couple of things. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna, so we've collected all of our TOC conductivity samples. It's just micro samples now.
Yeah.
We're gonna provide you guys with some pre-soaked wipes, so you won't have to have a spray bottle, but it's still gonna be the same thing.
Yeah.
It's 70% IPA.
Okay.
And then what you're gonna do, you're just gonna take it and wipe this down. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna spray the port, and this is not a time to be like careful or like safe. You wanna get that pre-soaked rags
Right.
all up in there.
Yep.
And
there too, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then once you've just basically got it on all the surfaces that you can for this port, we're gonna hold off. We're gonna let it dry, because that is how we know that it is clean. It's when the rag or the spray bottle, whatever you spray, it's when it evaporates.
Yeah.
That's how we know it's good. So,
And
well.
I would like that. I mean, you can spray this port, run over there, spray that
Absolutely.
port, get them all at the same time.
Because they
Don't
got to
blow
dry
on it.
anyway.
No.
Don't do what I'm doing. And
No.
that's a good idea. We should probably be wearing, since this is especially at face level, we should definitely be wearing a mask. Thank you. That can be added to the procedure later on.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. So please wear a mask when you guys are doing
That was
this.
my
Or at least during the micro.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
For Michael.
And so while that's drying, I'm gonna go ahead and label my sample bottle. So it's gonna be micro POU -2.
Will the micro come in a different bottle?
So actually, most likely we'll switch out and use these for micro, and the TOC bottles might
Gotcha.
be a little bit smaller.
That'd be like a glass vial. almost, kind of.
Yeah, so it should be, right? But we use these special plastic that don't shed or anything. And we've gotten good results from the totes, so I believe in it, I guess.
So those are sterile bottles.
Yeah. And like I was telling these guys, if you want, you can remove the tape. The tape just lets us know that they're
Hasn't been
sterile.
tampered.
Yeah. So honestly, like what I would always do when I was water sampling is I would just put my finger like this on the tape, and then I pop it, and so now I know the tape, like the tape's broken, this bottle's been opened, so I'm using it because there's no coming back. So we've let that dry, and so now it's going to be a very similar process.
How long do you think it takes for the alcohol to dry?
I would say 30 seconds,
Is that how
roughly.
dry-
It's not like
dries
you're not waiting
quick?
around
So a little
for
bit
minutes.
of like dripping. Well, I guess it's the inside of the door.
Yeah.
So what if? When I ask this, what if a droplet of alcohol gets in there? It should have no impact on the micro sample.
It's gonna be so dilute, it won't kill everything that's in there. We'll still be able to collect
Okay.
an adequate sample. Yeah, that's a good point too.
So I got a question before
Yeah.
we proceed. So the sample gonna be compensated. We're taking all three, right? So now you come and collect half of the bottle here with the same bottle and collect some, or
No.
No.
So each port gets its own
Own
sample.
sample.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you have to label each port.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
So it's
now.
gonna be 3 samples here, 3 samples there,
Yes.
and 3
Two
samples
samples.
there.
9
Okay,
samples
I got it.
total.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay, so this is clean and dry. Now, the only other thing that we need to clean and dry before
send this out.
we take our sample is our hands.
Yeah.
So you'll put on new gloves, and then you'll rub the alcohol either with the wipe or spray bottle on your new gloves, and you'll let them dry. And this is a moment where you can do something like this. It's okay because I mean it's already exposed to the air.
Yeah.
It's not gonna get more exposed to the air, so it's okay if you want to do something like this to dry your hands. And then it's exactly the same.
Same process.
We're gonna open it and we're gonna let it go pretty good.
A little bit of water getting on this stuff.
Is that full throttle?
No big deal.
And then again, I count in my head to 15. This stays closed until you're ready to sample. So I've hit my 15. I'm gonna dial it back now to like a sampling level, and then I'll count to 15 again. I'm only gonna open this when I'm ready to take the water. And it's exactly the same process. We're gonna fill it up. And don't be afraid. So this is like creeping really slow, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just close this, and then I'm gonna crank it up a little bit more, because ain't nobody got time for that.
I
Two
was-
more times. So now open it again. And then when you're opening and closing the bottle, just remember, don't touch the inside of the cap or the inside of the bottle. There's no way around you touching the outside, so no big deal, right? That's why we had you clean your hands. But the inside of the bottle, like, we can't do anything about that. There you go.
Thank you,
I would
John.
never do this during a live stream.
Right. All right, so this is our
I've got the
So
notes loading,
sample-
Rich, so they should be back in time.
um, and then close the lid nice and tight. Turn off the water. We've already labeled our sample, but like I said, the lid's nice and tight, and then we'll put it in our tote or whatever you guys end up getting, and then take off our gloves and move on to the next port. We'll put some new gloves on,
Repeat the process.
and yep,
Okay, cool.
2 TOC, 1 micro, every port. And we can take our time during the real thing. Nobody's going to rush us.
absolutely. Yeah. So
You
if you
don't
do
wanna
more
rush.
than 30-second flush, nothing bad's gonna
Right.
happen.
Actually.
The only thing when you're doing your TOC sample, no rush at all. When you're doing your micro sample, once you have that bottle open and you've started rinsing, then you wanna finish rinsing
quick.
in a timely manner. You don't wanna slow the process down there. But before then, take your time. Like there's no reason to rush through this. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions?
I have some questions and some observations.
Yeah.
Gowning requirements. Are we going to be using sterile gloves, or can we use regular gloves and sterilize them ourselves?
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna be using regular gloves. So I left the box that I normally have. So one of the things I keep in this box is a box of gloves.
Nitrile.
Yeah. And so if I suspect, say I've just cleaned my gloves and then, whoa, I almost fell. Well, this is dirty. I don't need to tell you guys this is dirty. You guys know this is dirty. So there's a couple of things that you can do. You can wash your hands, like get that pre-soaked wipe out and do that and let your hands dry again. Just take your gloves off, put new gloves on too. But you're gonna wanna, no matter what you do, you're gonna wanna clean your hands again.
Yeah. I would say when in doubt, bring a box of gloves with you.
Yeah.
You can never change your gloves too many times.
Exactly.
If you don't have a trash can, throw them on the ground and pick them up later when you're done.
Right. And then trying to think. Yeah. Sorry. Did you have?
Well, one comment. I'm going to try. Hopefully, Home Depot has them or someone has them. I'm going to try to get 3 big stainless steel buckets. This way, you can have one there, and hopefully, they're big enough to where we can collect all of our samples without having to run downstairs and drain them. And we really do need to have a bucket here because there is electrical equipment under us, and it should be waterproof. But I just
It's better to.
be safe. Sorry.
I have
Yeah.
a question.
Yeah.
So after we use the pails, what's the cleaning process for the pails?
So if he gets metal pails, what we can do is we can autoclave them,
Oh, good.
and then we don't have to worry if anything's growing or anything
Good.
like that.
Good.
And it's also one of those things. It most likely we'll be fine if we do that once a week, just to make sure that they're not a source of contamination. But we can. Bottom line is we can clean them as much as we need to.
Gotcha.
So I was thinking maybe this isn't appropriate, but I was thinking almost every time when we go to the micro sample, that wouldn't work because it would already be filled. Never mind. Don't worry about it. So you're saying we can give them to the lab and they will autoclave them, and then I guess they can return it every time we need a sample. They just give us the buckets and
Cause that's what the lab did for us after we got that.
Now I can tell you from experience. I mean, I think that's just it'd be a good thing that we're cleaning them, but we never really cleaned out
and-
our buckets. We always left them up to dry,
Oh my
and it
God.
would dry overnight, and it would not have any
Yeah.
microbial.
And he's exactly right. What you don't want to do is leave standing water in those buckets. If you just tip them upside down so the water's all going to drain out and they'll air dry, that's totally fine. And then we've already got quite a few of those bottles sterilized. We have quite a few of the TOC bottles ready to go. So from our perspective, you guys should be good as far as like supplies.
So-
And then I'll make sure we get some pre-moistened wipes, or if you want to order something, whatever. Yeah.
I'll see what exactly we're going to use, and then I think the agreement was that the lab would prep the bottles for us in terms of actually like what we use to sanitize. They're going to help us out in the beginning until we can get our own stuff. So if it's 20 samples, 9 times 20 is 180 bottles.
We
2/3 of those will need to be the
yeah.
conductivity TOC, 1/3
Yeah.
will be the micro.
We should be good with the micro, but we'll make sure we get enough.
But then after that, I'm taking 2 of these ports out of service. It'll be once every 2 weeks, or at our discretion if we think something happens. Some other comments. Let's say we come in here to sample. Generally, we're going to be sampling on Wednesday or Thursday. This way, I think that for micro, you test over the weekend, and this way the lab doesn't have to come in here on the weekend, which also kind of helps us in terms of when we actually process in this room. So if production's over there dumping a whole bunch of API over there for whatever reason, we need to wait till it comes to a stopping point, wait 30 minutes for everything to settle. We absolutely should not be taking samples while processing is going on. Now, if the tanks are closed and it's just mixing, and no one else is really in the room, then we're good. And really, people, the other thing, and I should have wrote this in the SOP, I will, we need to control the room while we're collecting samples. People, if people are coming in here and they start spraying alcohol or sanitizing wipes, it could screw everything up. And I didn't think about that when we were writing the SOPs. It should be in there. Almost every company that I work for, QA or whoever's doing the sampling, is allowed to pretty much essentially kick everyone out of the room until they're done.
Yeah.
Maybe we can put something in front of the door, like don't enter, or
Sure.
or test in progress.
Now,
Shane.
now if someone does like just poke their head
do it
in
during their lunch.
and then walks right back out, that's okay.
Yeah.
You just don't want someone to come in, start working, moving stuff around, opening boxes or spraying chemicals, whatever, or API. So
Just maybe sign test in progress.
yeah.
Like I said, when we go commercial, it should take us no longer than 10 minutes. I mean, once we get everything set up, 10
Yeah.
minutes,
And does anybody want to take a sample or
Well, that's what I was
anything
hoping
like
we
that?
do next. Everyone kind of practice
Absolutely.
one time.
Yeah. Yeah. The nice thing.
We don't have. You have gloves?